material things out there, which is what you're talking about,
Yeah.
manifesting, right? Right?
Yeah.
In a sense, that is the ancient law that if you attend to something, if you put your attention on something, eventually it will happen because we're powerful enough to do that. So Taylor says, okay, that's the ancient teaching. Seek and you shall find. Knock the door and it'll be open unto you, right? Taylor is saying, okay, can science show this to be true? And he's showing something profound, but there is something more. There's a prerequisite. You cannot buy a book and expect this to happen. You have to take that knowledge and make it active in your life. Don't make it dead knowledge. And here's the other thing Tiller did in his scientific protocol. And I'll take you to pillar number 4 of that bridge. When he wrote that information down, he writes something very profound. And it hit me when I wrote that book. And it hit me so profoundly. He said, thy will be done. The Lord's Prayer.
Love that
Not
one.
anybody else's will. He's showing that, show me the truth, O Lord.
Yes.
This is science of the highest nature. It's not about let me get a yellow car or the Ferrari or let me get a patent and let me be a millionaire. Tiller is a simple man, a profound sage. He's a profound teacher and a scientist. This is our teacher, Peter, not some millionaire person. No, this is the science that will stand the test of time. Tiller is saying, show me, O Lord, the truth in this creation. Mm-hmm. And he showed it to be true. And what did he show? That not only is human thinking, if it's channeled properly, reduce disorder, it can manifest things and change materials. Then he stumbled into something very profound. And that's in pillar number 5. Human thinkingness can shift the very space, the very physical space. What is physical space? That's physical vacuum. That's physics, fundamental physics. It can change the ground level of the field. Now we're going into hard-nosed physics. Okay? Yes, quantum mechanics is correct, but it's quantum theory. It's theory at this time. And what does quantum theory tell us? There's a duality, particle and the wave. There's a duality. And Tiller physics addresses that. And he says, Tiller physics shows that wave and particle, the wave aspect of it is information. Information changes how the particle behaves. What is information? We just talked about it. That's your intention. Yeah. Your intent can change the particle behavior if you're focused enough. Well, how are you going to get there? If you meditate, if you go to thy will be done. We have those tools. Mm-hmm. Why play around with these manifestation books? Get clear on yourself first.
Oh my God, I am so happy I get to talk to you about this because it's resonating true to me on so many levels. And personally, I was just talking to a friend about this last night. A lot of people have been, I won't say duped, but like you're saying, you need to know yourself before you attempt to do these huge, profound things. And thy will be done about 3 years ago changed my life because I believed in God. I believed in a power greater than myself, but I only believed in it because I had big dreams and I felt I was destined for greatness. And to me, that was proof of God. And so when I started to surrender to what I actually was, to what life needed to be for me, to the things that were in front of me right now, everything changed. And my life now is not what I imagined it would be, but the things that have come to me have been so much richer than what I could have imagined by just being a star or just being rich. And the surrendering, thy will be done is like, have faith that whatever needs to happen will happen through you.
Yes, absolutely. Let life flow. Let life flow. Don't resist it. That's why I said with that life kit. When that anxiety comes up, notice it. It's fear. Breathe. Go into your heart and watch it dissipate. Now you practice it. It's not even going to bother you. Let me tell you, from my own experience, all this manifestation, we all want good things in our lives, richer homes and salaries and all that. But what I have noted is like you, I've noticed a shift in my intentional purposes. Now, when I show up in my day, I really, really, and I mean this, I really want to help my patient.
Mm.
I really, I don't, I mean, it's fine to have a nice job and all, but I really am very simple. I really want to help my patient. I pray for them. So my intention has shifted.
Yeah.
It used to be I want this and I want that. And so naturally, when I look back, and it's really remarkable that something inside of me has also, you might say, taken a shift or matured even. And it will continue.
Right.
So, and I feel thankful to show up and to listen to them, to really pay attention because their suffering and their questions are my own. There's
Hmm.
no separation there.
One thing that I do find interesting when I look back on my journey is when I was in my early 20s, I was partying a lot. I was really self-destructive, but I was having the time of my life and I had really big dreams. And I used nightlife and celebrity obsession and pop culture as a way to, live in this chaos, but also vibrate at such a frequency that things happen so quickly. I would
Yes.
think of things and they would manifest opportunities, people, creative experiences, romantic experiences. And I know because it was my life that the chaos contributed to the rate at which things happened because it was just so focused, hyper focused. Now, on the other side of that, I know that drugs and alcohol are obviously not a healthy choice. You don't want to use those to do anything. But what do you have any thoughts on that kind of, I guess, destructive lifestyle or really intense environments that actually speed up intent or influence intent in a, I don't know, a different way?
Yes, it's a very important question. So you cannot see anything out there until you see it within yourself. So all of these destructive emotions are also in Nisha, okay? But here's the thing. You've experienced that. That was your period of exploration and you grew from that. You recognize it and you can choose differently now. Okay? You're choosing differently, Peter. That's very important because that's discernment. You
Hmm.
don't need alcohol and drugs anymore. You've done
Right.
that. It's
Hmm.
behind you now. And that has built an informational infrastructure in you to choose differently. Master Jesus always said, give unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar, but the soul of man, it belongs to God. He never
Mm.
resisted anything, but he said, come, choose again. So that's what you're doing. You've done all that funky stuff in your youth. It's enough.
Yeah.
Now you're mature.
Right.
That period has built you up. Okay, you don't need it anymore. And that's very important. You can be a guide to other folks.
Right.
That's
You.
very powerful. Okay, I'm not, so notice what I'm saying. It's not pure or impure. All of it is there. You're looking at it and saying, I choose purity. For once in my life, I choose this. That's a gift.
Yes. Yeah, it is. And being able to observe it from a distance is so powerful because when you're in
Yes,
something, it's hard to unravel what's real and what isn't when your life is
yes.
bombarded by lots of things. And
You're very
yes,
fortunate somehow. You've had the heart lead you through. That's your North Star. Okay, you've said, I have had this intuition since I was a young boy, and that has led you through. So it will keep leading you through, but always go to scripture. Always. And the science tells you you're building your information infrastructure. Every experience, don't label it. You notice it and say, I'm
yes,
going to choose this.
yep.
That's all.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what a lot of books that I've read do say. every experience is giving you an opportunity to be more specific about the type of life you want moving forward. So
Yes.
it's
Yes.
okay to have turbulent experiences, but use them as a lesson and move on. Some people may be listening to this conversation and they may still be in the starry-eyed phase of what they can personally do to change their life, and they have a way to go to get to the cultivating inner peace and clarity and knowing, but they don't want to let go of the exciting idea that they can manifest money or fame or the person of their dreams. How do you approach grounding, getting like simplifying desires and dreams and intent? How would you approach that?
Oh, that's wonderful. Again, beautiful question, Peter. One of the biggest gifts that we can give to the universe is to be silent. Move into
Oh my God.
silence.
That's so
Okay.
good.
So close the door, close the eyes, close the ears, sit silently for 5 minutes. Can we not do that? Move into silence. Scripture says, and even Tiller, when he made that intention, and I was with him in the imprinting processes, we would all go into silence for a few moments. We communicate and we unite. There's union. That's communion. Communication and union, right? Silence. We commune with each other and we move into silence. Then Tiller would break the silence and would read the intention. And then thy will be done would hang in the air and we move back into silence. Silence and surrender. Become comfortable. Enough of the noise. I'm doing this here. Move into silence. Do we have to have all this noise? Enough.
Yeah.
Even now I'm saying silence, okay?
I think I know it to be true because I've had that luckily move from chaos to inner peace. And it's something that I try and cultivate on a regular basis. But we live in a world that values a lot of followers on Instagram, having the perfect body, salaries, and career focus. So I think even though it's such a simple thing, it is probably one of the biggest challenges most people will face in their life is shutting those doors and finding that quiet time, because it almost goes against every impulse that you have, because of the world we live in tells you more, faster, stronger, more beautiful, more money, and you have to like fight against that every single day to keep your bubble clear. And
Well, I wouldn't fight against it. Again, it's a resistance. Become
mm,
aware of your own momentum, your inner dialogue. And how can you do that? You have to have silence, even for a few minutes every day. Become knowledgeable of your own prejudices and preferences. Become aware of them. Then choose differently. Okay? It's not about more, because we are right now in an information warfare.
yes,
We don't even know what's truth and not truth anymore, to be honest.
yeah,
And Bridging Science and Spirit gives everybody a technique to know discernment. Kinesiology, I talk about it. It's about time you rise and look at your own self and figure it out. Stop looking out there. Stop being a child. We're past the kindergarten stage now, Peter. We're
yeah,
past it.
yeah.
It's not out there. It's about you inside. And let me tell you another thing. And I've known this for a long time. Your mind is already 99% silent. It's like a vast stadium. Every seat is empty. And in one corner of that stadium is a radio playing. And all our attention goes on that radio channel. Enough of the radio. If your mind is already silent, you have to ask, what am I doing to disturb the natural tranquility? Turn
Ooh,
it around. What are you doing and choosing to disturb the natural tranquility and serenity of your mind? Because nature wants it to be silent. Go there. Well, start to tap into it. Look at your noisiness. And if you're addicted to it, so be it. That's your juice. But I'm not here to change your mind. I'm here to show you, go there, go silent. Go silently amidst your life. Be a gift unto your world, unto your own self. Be a gift to your own self. You don't need more information. You need discernment, my friend.
Yeah.
Get with the program. You have the tools, so stop looking out there. And this is, I think, in medicine, I was so bombarded with more journals, more data, which made no sense, Peter. It didn't help my patients. More molecules, more molecules, more molecules. No. And I think, I think a part of me was, and I was one of the best clinics in the world. Doesn't mean I left the science behind, but I had to expand my toolbox. And from that, I grew myself. I was also growing. I was desperate. I was crying out that I think we're on the wrong track here, people. We can't give more molecules and more medicines and more pain medications. No, we need to find the natural inbuilt systems in our body, and Tiller physics speaks to it directly. Speaks to it directly. So enough of this. That doesn't mean I leave the medicines behind, but I use them wisely, and I teach my patients how. So let's leave the kindergarten world and let's build on it. Let's build on our inner systems. It's about time.
Yes. When you started your journey into medicine, because you just said that it was out of desperation that you realized there has to be more. There can't just
Yeah.
be these journals and more medicines. And um, so when you started your medical journey and started in school and your practice, did you have a spiritual practice then, or was it out of desperation that this all came to you?
What a great question again. One of the things for me was I grew up in Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya, and I grew up in a Hindu household. And thankfully, I didn't have much privilege there in Kenya. It's very simple, very little schooling, but my mother always instilled in me the love of the divine word. So I read the
Mm,
children's Bible, the children's book of Buddha. I did all the Hindu practices. It was very much part of how I grew up. It was my North Star to find the truth. And to me, science was the way to the truth. But it became rapidly clear to me that science is locked into material form. And spirituality goes from a distinct point of view. It goes from holistic way, holism, consciousness, and science about breaking down, fragmenting. You have to bring them two together. So for me, the North Star was seek the truth no matter what. And I brought that. I think it was always inside. Not I think, it was always inside. So when I did science and I brought excellence to science, I saw the limitations and I needed
mm.
to find the loop back. And Tiller's physics loops us back. It loops us back not only in physics, it loops us back in medicine. I call that information medicine.
You must have been so excited when you discovered Tiller and then got the opportunity to work with him in such an intimate way.
Oh my
I,
God.
like I can't even imagine how powerful that would be to feel so desperate to look for something more,
Yeah.
discover this scientist who is doing the work that you're craving, and then being able to work with him intimately and bring your book together.
He's a physicist and I'm a medical doctor. We have nothing in common. Nothing in common. Imagine that. And I can tell you he was very reluctant. Tiller said, I like your enthusiasm, but your world does not belong in physics. I don't have any common ground. How would we both communicate? But he had a change of heart, He and I met in Arizona, and I knew, wow, this is I told you he's a sage and he's my teacher.
Mm,
More and more for professors who do not do meditation is not where I want to be. I've done that. I've been there and done that. I needed the next step. And
mhm.
Tiller gave it to me. I saw that in our conversation, that this is a man who meditates. I could feel it in his eyes, in his whole demeanor, in his real, just a friendly, he is like we'd known each other for many, many years. And I think we did. I think in a certain sense, it was that field effect. We were already joined from the heart. So when I told Tiller, I really want to know your work because I don't understand this. I look
Yeah.
at your papers. I don't understand the equations. I don't understand anything of what you're talking about, this symmetry states and space. And what does this all mean? He says, well, no. I think you belong at the Mayo Clinic. He actually said, you belong at the Mayo Clinic. You need to just go back and stay with your medical colleagues. But he had a change of heart and said, if you can translate a little bit of my physics for medicine, I think you have a role to play. And that is
Wow.
medicine is stuck in chemistry. And I think the writing is on the wall. If you can communicate to your colleagues the importance of energy medicine and also information medicine, then I think I think you can help them see the pathway forward because you'll be in circles. You'll be stuck in more chemistry and biochemistry. And we're not that. We're not just form. We are consciousness.
Yeah.
We are consciousness. And when he says information medicine, just to tell you, Tiller and I discussed this data in my book in pillar number 6. Your intention is beyond electromagnetism. You can send your intention, you can broadcast it thousands of miles to someone else. He shows why that is possible and true. It breaks everything down. You don't need to show up in a doctor's office with an appointment and all of that. He breaks down that boundary so much. It's like I'm still scratching my head like, whoa.
How did
I
your
still do one-on-one, but boy, if we have shown this is the very early stages of information medicine, we need to build on the bridge. We need smart people who know math, who know physics to build on the science part, but we also have to grow spiritually to make those connections even firmer. That's where you build the bridge.
Yeah, and it's interesting because from a layman, you know, you read these books and all of the science, the physicists, the MDs, they exist inside of in one clump in my mind. So it's interesting to hear you say how you two equally brilliant and separate people come together, and you know you need to find common ground even between you two, and then you have to take that information to your colleagues. And I'm wondering, how did your colleagues react to you suddenly saying, we need more spirit. We need to bridge the gap.
I used to give grand rounds on subtle energies and spirituality. I've done that, stood before very eminent professors, and fortunately, they may not have understood everything I was saying, but something about the truth did affect them. They were kind to me and said, I don't know how to mentor you in this because at Mayo, I said, I really need time to research this. And they said, I think you're on to something here, but we don't have the expertise to help you. So I think something of that calling out and saying, look, we have to go here was received and the seed was planted. I think the newer generations of doctors are going to rise and they will give meaning to this. I
Yeah.
think we're on to something, Peter. I'm not I'm
Oh,
not
of course.
pessimistic at all. I think the science will come, and the spirituality will be more and more in medical school curriculums. The integrative curriculums are taking root. They're um, they're more focused on nutrition and lifestyle, but I think the spiritual practices will come more and more. Yeah, I think it's coming.
I think so too, because like you said, there is something about it that resonates with people. And I can
Yes,
only assume when you see people who are suffering from different illness and disease that sometimes the medicine doesn't work and there has to be something else. And you hear
yes,
stories all the time about
yes,
miraculous healing and
yes,
the power of prayer and you know
yes.
so it's there. We have the stories, we just don't have the facts. And I really hope that there comes a day when it is all encompassing. How far away do you think that is? Like, what are the things that need to happen before you think this is very, very common? Because right now, you and I are existing kind of on the peripheral. These conversations are so real to us. But,
Yes.
I think about a medical school in Canada. I don't know how far away they are from being like, we need to add the spiritual course. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes. Well, it's hard for me to answer that, but I'll tell you that certainly, and I talk about this in pillar number 6. I give a case report of a patient of mine who has a rare form of arthritis called ankylosing spondylitis. He had the best conventional treatment, and and nothing worked. Nothing worked. Hundreds of thousands of dollars of expert care from orthopedics, pain management, rehabilitation, rheumatology, neurology. I think half a dozen or more best of the best conventional care, linear science. He contacted me. By that time, I'd left to Arizona and said, I need your help. And that's where we came in with Dr. Tiller to form a new program. This is information medicine, which was not only taking his wishes into account. I want pain relief. I need to get my cardiac health. I took all of his wishes and we built an intention. That's information. But that information was rooted in scripture.
Mm.
That thy will be done, O Father, okay, for this person. And when you do that, new information was built into this man. And you'll come to that. His name is Mark. That's not his real name, but and then it happened. His emotions lifted, and over time, suddenly, over 1 week, I call him, periodically, what's happening to your health? I do all of the questionnaires. I'm still his physician in a sense.
Yeah.
And I call him. He lives in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And then suddenly he says, Dr. Manek, my pain just went away. I said, excuse me, what do you mean it went away? He says, you remember we had my pain should go away? I said, have you had treatment? Did something change? He says, no, I don't go to the clinic. I'm not on any biologic. And so it just went away. And I think and I give the reason in pillar number 6, when you do information, when you're constantly giving new directive, remember, when that wave is given a new direction, the particle starts to change. It's not overnight. It can be for some people. Children can do this overnight. They heal very quickly. Adults can take time to have new imprint shown. And then the particle suddenly changes and you have a new human being. Remember, your body is always renewing itself. Your body in a few years is no longer the same Peter it was a few years ago. So to answer your question, information is always crafting the energy and the particle matter. It's the higher blueprint. When medical schools understand this, when we have the right people, the right leaders in medicine understand this, they have to bring this into their curriculum. You can't avoid it.
Yes.
It's the truth.
Right.
I am speaking it. A lot of people are getting on board. And then there will be a tsunami. I'll tell you, integrative medicine in the United States, 1 in 3 Americans use it. 1 in 3.
Yeah.
Did I make that happen? No. Did the universities make that happen? No. Did the professors make it happen? No. Who made it happen? The consumers. Because they're saying they must be more than medicine.
It's the people.
I didn't do that. It's the people. They are rising up and saying they must be more than just another Tylenol.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't make that happen. That truth is the people saying, right, they're saying something inside of them says they must be more. So give meaning to that. You don't brush it aside. You look at it and say the people are saying There must be more. They're taking charge and
Yeah.
they're paying out of pocket for all kinds of healing, nutrition, vitamins, all of that. But I'm saying to you, if you meditate, begin to move into silence, and I give one very, very powerful technique in pillar number 6. The body is like a magnet. It has a field that it's magnetic. It's not electromagnetic. You have to get this right. It's like a big magnetic field. And if you connect the polarities of your body, very simple, it's called the Eman circuit. Wow. And I tell you, when I teach my patients this, it's like the electricals, they can feel it. They go, oh, I can feel something. It's like a little electrical pulses in my body. Yes, you're connecting the polarities. Guess what you're doing? You're harmonizing your body. You're
Wow.
harmonizing from the inside out. Do you need all these stuff? You could do away with it. I'm not saying you do. Forget your coffee and your vitamins. Take them if you want, but do the subtle energy work. Wow. Now you're powering up the energy and you're actually amplifying, augmenting all the chemistry. So use the chemistry now, amplify it with the subtle energy and amplify it even more with your intention. Why can't you do that?
Wow.
Well, do we need everything? Okay. So I'm just going, I'm fed up of talking about this. Get with it, people.
It's so much simpler. I know. I know. We really make our lives a lot more difficult than they need to be. We just
It's
need to.
simple. When Tiller first showed me that Eman circuit, I didn't believe it. And then he gave me the circuit. I still have his old copper circuits that he gave me. It's really, I clean it, but it's one thing I carry in my hand luggage everywhere. That was the one circuit that I could recharge myself every day, just 20 minutes. It's like I had a powerful meditation and I could get back to writing the book and revising it because it was a big undertaking. I'm not a physicist, but I had to learn and to communicate. It's heavy going. Okay.
Totally.
So I
Yeah.
know firsthand that Eman circuit works. And I'm saying, and I teach
Love
it to
it.
my patients. It works. Do it.
Exactly. Yeah.
You don't need to know fancy stuff. You don't need to know fancy qigong and tai chi. If you want to do that, sure enough, go do the yoga, go do the tai chi. It brings you together in a group. Right now, maybe in Zoom, but whatever, it's fine. But I can tell you, for people who cannot do yoga, they're afraid, they're alone. I tell them do the Eman circuit. I teach
Right.
that to my patients, yeah. And it's in Bridging Science and Spirit. It's already there.
Yeah. I can't wait to tell. I've already been messaging all my friends to get your book. It's been so great.
Yeah.
I can't wait to power through the rest. And maybe I will be brave and explore Tiller's books too and see if I can
Yeah.
digest them. But
Yes. His books are very high in calibration. Again, when I ran across his work, I didn't believe that human thought can change material out there consistently like he does. I couldn't believe it. I said, how can human thought change a pH of water without any chemical addition, without zapping the water? Where does this happen? How does this happen?
hmm hmm
It's impossible. But then I went and he showed me the data. Oh my God, it's true. The numbers tell the truth.
Yep.
But I told you that it's in meditation. He's a very coherent human. Number two, the space is a very important clue to manifestation of this intention. Okay. And I leave those wonderful bridge things for people to discover because, we could be here for hours on this conversation.
Exactly. And the discovery is where the magic happens because it's like you said when your clients feel it physically. The first time I had that profound experience through meditating, I didn't need any more convincing because I felt it in my body. And
Yeah.
once people take that step forward and they move towards the wellness, it will they may have more curiosity, but the question of whether or not it's powerful will leave because they'll have the experience.
It is the experiential. You're right. You don't need convincing then, and it's your own truth. You built it into your own human self. That has more power than all the books out there. You need to experience and grow in consciousness. Okay? And we've talked about this, Peter. If your listeners can just spend a little time in silence, move into silence. Really, that's all we need to do. And become knowledgeable about your own internal dialogue and start to ask, what's disturbing my natural tranquility? And release it, surrender it, let it go. You don't need any control. Let life flow through you, and life will show you its beauty, because you are entitled. It's our natural inheritance to have freedom and peacefulness. We are far more than we're made out to be. We have a lot of power. We're like sleeping. We're Homo spiritus. Not just Homo sapiens, but we're Homo spiritus.
I love that. I think that's a great way to wrap up this conversation. That's such good advice, and I loved talking to you. I feel you through the screen. I feel like I'm sitting right across from you. It's great. Thank you so much for joining me and for sharing your insight and for writing the amazing book that you did.
Peter, thank you for the opportunity. It's been a pleasure. You let me just let my hair down, and I sometimes
Stop it. It's okay.
How much can you? I implore people. How much can you do? You want to wake them up.
Yeah.
Shout from the rooftops. Listen here, people. Don't be afraid of anything out there. You're always protected. You have the science. You have the spirit. Join them up. Join them up. And then as you grow in spirit, you can leave the science behind. You will be growing in consciousness.